The second thing that was agreed was the agricultural code has been adopted by 5 out of the 8 states and territories. Those who didn't join were Queensland, Western Australia and Tasmania, but they will look on again to see how that process works, and particularly South Australia, New South Wales and Victoria will bring it immediately. And I think the Premier of Victoria may have indicated this in his press conference. They will begin immediately to put that prescriptive code in place to facilitate greater engagement of agricultural workers and other important workers in the agricultural sector, so as to not to dislocate what is occurring in the ag sector between those 3 states and territories. And again, I thank them for their support. On international arrivals, it was agreed that we needed to further boost the capacity for inbound arrivals into Australia, particularly for those Australians seeking to come home. We noted that New South Wales has been doing all the heavy lifting on this, and they really are at their capacity for the time being. And so, as I discussed with Cabinet during the course of this week, the Transport Minister will be working with others to see if we can get flights that currently all seek to come to Sydney, to see if we're in a position to try and get them to going into other ports, whether that be in Perth, in Adelaide, in Darwin, the ACT, or elsewhere, even Tasmania. Premier Gutman was keen to be part of this if that's possible. We want to get more Australians home, and we need to do that safely as well and not compromise the quarantine arrangements we have here as well. Almost 4,000 Australians are coming home every week, but we know there are many more who are trying to get home, and further support has been provided to DFAT to assist those Australians, particularly in hardship overseas. As part of that approach, I spoke to Prime Minister Ardern this morning, and what I advised her was that Australia will be looking to apply the same hotspot approach to New Zealand. So that means when we're in a position to do so, and when the Acting Chief Medical Officer has come to a set of arrangements with New Zealand, then we would be able to have New Zealanders come to Australia. That doesn't mean Australians can go to New Zealand. That's a matter for Prime Minister Ardern. But if there's no COVID in Christchurch and there's no COVID in Queensland, then there's no reason both of them can't come to Sydney. And that will mean, I think, an important boost for our tourist economy, whether it's in New South Wales or anywhere else. And so Prime Minister Ardern was very happy to have further discussions on that, but ultimately that's a decision for our border and people coming into Australia. But we would just need to ensure that the arrangements in place of identifying hotspots and things of that nature were well understood and were practical.